Good as advertised.
St. Mary's, 23-3. And we welcome you into the Marriott Center here in Provo, Utah. St. Mary's, number 22 in the country, looking for their second win against BYU this season, and a battle down low has already begun, Adrian, with Landell blocking Eric Mika.
Yeah, and you're looking at Star matching up with Star, and this is before Dane Pinot, their 6'9" Aussie that comes off the bench, will defend him as well.
St. Mary's won 81-68 in the meeting earlier this season. Landale had 26, Mika had 28. BYU likes to play a fast-paced offensive game, but St. Mary's, their job is to slow you down, but they do not want to send you to the free throw line like they just did for Yoli Childs.
Yeah, and both teams want to establish pace. BYU wants to get up the game into the 80s and also get 16 assists a game, which is excellent. St. Mary's wants to keep it at 60 points, but both of them want to establish a lead and make you play their style.
Adrian Yoli Childs, he's a freshman. This starting five for BYU, with the injuries to L.J. Rose and Kyle Davis, they're two seniors for this season. Those guys are out for the remainder of the year. This is one of the youngest lineups in the history of BYU.
Yeah, Dave Rose is playing with house money. They're 1 year early right now. Of course, they want to win. They have an urgency to win, but this is a good start. You've got to guard the three-point line and sit down defensively for 20 seconds.
Evan Fitzner, who picked up the foul on the last play, missing the three-pointer, and Elijah Bryant, the sophomore out of Georgia, the rebound. Here's Hawes pulling the trigger early.
That's a key for St. Mary's, to guard transition and also the three-point line. They want to build their defense from the three-point line and in. You got Yoli Childs, check and jump.
Good seal by Landale, and nobody coming in front of him.
Yeah, when you have no help, you've got to talk to him and let him know there's no help. So Yoli has to not give up an easy lob.
Another three-point attempt, this time by Nick Emery, who kind of broke out of a slump here the other night with 26 points against San Diego. It's a short bench for Coach Dave Rose, and he really needs the three-point shooters Emery and Hawes to get off early.
Coach Rose is so happy to have Emery back. He dealt with a shoulder issue and a knee issue.
Fitzner, his second three-point attempt. And BYU, the best defensive rebounding team in the country.
No double team so far on Eric Mika.
And this is an aspect of his game he's worked on, the face-up jump shot.
Well, 2 stars. You see Jock Landale already scored, getting him going. Offense runs through him. And then Eric Mika answering the bell. Last game, they both did their job at 28 points and 10 rebounds and 26 points and 9 rebounds.
BYU looking for a signature win against a ranked opponent. They still have to go on the road to Gonzaga for the final game of the season next Saturday night. The Cougars with a turnover on defense. Bryant tries to turn the corner. Good defense underneath by Hermanson. And the ball out of bounds in favor of St. Mary's.
It's a good matchup on every position. When you have Bryant going against Hermanson, that's a good matchup.
Randy Bennett, his 16th season with St. Mary's, 356 wins. When he took over this team 16 years ago, it was a 2-win team. And since then, he's made 10 postseasons, 3-time West Coast Conference Coach of the Year.
He's been delivering, representing his conference in school very well.
Joe Rahan, the senior, and we talked about the young guys for BYU. It's full of upperclassmen for St. Mary's. Yoli Childs doesn't come out of the paint too often, as Rahan tracks down the rebound, but he stepped on the sidelines. We'll go back to the Cougars. Coach Dave Rose for BYU just a couple games ago picking up his 300th career win, and he's 10th among active coaches in terms of winning percentage. And BYU, Adrian, just so tough to beat here at home.
Well, they have an open style. They get out. He allows his players freedom. You look at Hawes, he'll take a quick shot. Emery will take a quick shot. They don't look over at the bench to see if they're going to get pulled. And really, they don't have a lot of bench right now because of the injuries to the co-captains.
Nice weave inside by T.J. Hawes for his first bucket.
A clash of styles. St. Mary's, when they get going, they'll take their time. They're going to run the shot clock down And because of Emmett Narr with the basketball, Joe Rahan, they can make a good decision under 5 seconds.
Here's Fitzner, aggressive to the rack and lays it in.
Having a coming out party. The last game that he played, they were really high. The coaching staff was really proud of the performance that he played with a lot of freedom.
Foul on the floor on the inside. That one's on the big man, Jock Landale, the junior out of Australia.
I asked Joe Rahan, I said, who's one player the nation really doesn't know about with your team? And he said, Dane Pinot, number 22 that just subbed in, one of the best defenders in the country.
Pinot comes off the bench. Emery back in the starting lineup after missing some time with the flu. Didn't start here at home against Gonzaga, his first non-start of the season.
Changing up the defense, 1-3-1.
Here's Hermanson, who's a 43% three-point shooter.
Great start, but you got to close out to your shooters when you transition into defense. You got to know where the scores are.
Hawes can't get the rattle. It's a 9-7 early lead here for St. Mary's on the road. BYU has beaten St. Mary's 3 straight times here at the Marriott Center. And the Gales looking to correct that here tonight.
Single coverage. Star on star right there.
Landale turns, goes up with the right, and a kiss off the glass for Jock Landale.
I called their game last year at Stanford and don't remember him. And I told Randy Bennett, I said, I don't remember Jock Landale last year, and he busted out laughing.
Was a 6th man off the bench for St. Mary's last year and a starter in every game this year. For those watching you on ESPN News, we'll be switching over to ESPN2 after the break. St. Mary's 11, BYU 7 early in the first.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by McDonald's. I'm loving it.
An early 11-7 lead for number 22 St. Mary's on the road in Provo, Utah against BYU. We welcome you inside the Marriott Center alongside Adrian Branch. I'm Eric Rothman, and Adrian, we have the pleasure of seeing 2 of the maybe best centers in the country here in this one tonight.
Yeah, we talked about them in the open. Jock Landale already has scored two baskets in close, has a nice soft touch, and Eric Mika also can stretch the defense, go out to 15 feet. The last game that they played each other, they did their thing, 26 points and 28 points, and double-doubles for both of them.
When it comes to style, Adrian, these 2 teams offensively very different in terms of pace of play.
Yeah, they're determined. You look at this right here. This is the tail of the tape, folks. St. Mary's, 20 seconds before shot, second longest. BYU already 4th fastest. They've already taken 2 quick shots. Even though they have the green light to take a quick shot, you don't want to make sure it's not a bad shot.
We've already had 7 lead changes in this one, and if BYU plays at their pace, we expect the game to be back and forth as well. Here's Landale, spinning baseline, the rejection by Mika, scooped up by Emery.
Both centers already have a block on each other.
Childs up and under, smooth finish with the left hand.
Yoli Childs is a natural gamer. He just loses himself in the competition, has a nose for the ball defensively, and already is on the all-time records for freshmen with block shots.
As well as field goal percentage, 2nd all-time for the Cougs as a freshman. Rahan, the kick out in the corner to Dane Pinot, his first field goal attempt.
Nick Emery impacting the game, a couple rebounds inside, and then watch him spotting up at the 3-point line.
Mika, good spin move and one. Mika to the free throw line.
The stars are out early for St. Mary's. Jock Landale scoring down low. Eric Mika tying the game up. There's no double team. Now watch the good footwork. He's stepping out and then a reverse dribble inside. Strong finish.
And that's the first time, Adrian, that Dane Pinot has been guarding Eric Mika in this ballgame.
Well, he's a good defender. He's a good defender, but that was a very good offensive play. And then when you're playing at home, you have even more confidence.
Good idea on the backdoor cut. A pass errant and out of bounds by Jock Landale, a turnover on St. Mary's. As Randy Bennett, his team does not turn it over very often. They are number 4 in the country in terms of assist to turnover ratio. They share the ball, they take their time on offense, they don't turn it over. A rare error there for the Gales.
Namely because of Joe Rahan and the way he controls the game. First in the conference in assist and assist to turnover ratio. So he's doing an excellent job.
Emery on the crossover pulls up for 3 short.
Look at the body language of St. Mary's. They're unflappable. This is an excellent crowd. They're on the road. They're just playing with their own pace.
Emmett Narr, the junior from Melbourne, Australia, with the drive and the finish.
Good angle for Yoli Childs. See if he does a drop step.
Good move, good defense by Landale to stay in front of him and not bait on the spin. Rahan probing, lobs it inside to Landale, who is fouled, and he will go to the free throw line. Got a good one for you in the American on Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. It's UConn taking on Temple in Philly. As always, that can be streamed live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN.
For the starters of BYU, they're going to have to go big minutes because if Kyle Davis wasn't injured and out for the season, Yoli Childs would be coming off the bench, LJ Rose as well. If they go deep into any tournament, NIT or NCAA, he might be able to get back, but they're going to play big minutes this game.
Stefan Gonzalez banking it and hearing the boos here at the Marriott Center after that shot. And you mentioned the bench for BYU, Adrian, and in the past 2 games, BYU's bench has combined for 3 points total.
Good pass, secondary.
Bryant for 3, he got the roll. Elijah Bryant rattles it in. The transfer from Elon brings the Cougars within 1.
That should help his confidence. He's only shooting 20% from the 3, but structurally, he has a great form. No hitch to his shot.
Good hands by Emery, but kept alive by St. Mary's with 10 on the shot clock.
Got to help on this. Can't leave Yoli Childs one-on-one.
Rahan wins the mismatch easily.
Too late for the help defense. When you have a point guard going against your power forward, defensively, you got to cheat over to that side to get ready to help.
Mika again facing up. Same shot he made earlier, missing short on that one, but he's becoming more and more comfortable with that mid-range jump shot.
Yeah, pace right now, the game flow favors St. Mary's because BYU is not hitting 3-pointers and getting this crowd involved. It's a good slow pace for St. Mary's.
No, backing down Mika and going up and under with the right hand.
Solid offense, solid defense. Now watch the blue jerseys sit down on BYU. They just want to make it hard, contest the 3-point shot, give up nothing easy.
And Emery got wedged as he went into the lane, lost it out of bounds. A turnover will send it to St. Mary's after the break. St. Mary's on top by 5, nearing the midway point here in the first. The evening it will be the Sonic Blockbuster between some top 25 teams, and my boys at Syracuse trying to get in there as well. We're back here in Provo, Utah. 20-15, St. Mary's on top of BYU. Eric Rothman, Adrian Branch here with you.
So we're having shameless plugs now.
Well, usually you get your Terrapins in there. I thought I'd jump you early.
And guess what place they're in the Big Ten right now? First.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, goodness. St.
Mary's the basketball out of the break. We've had 11 players already score in this game. 6 for St. Mary's, 5 for BYU.
You can see the veteran experience with St. Mary's. They take their time, harass us, quick turnover. This is what they didn't want to do.
Emery on the run out. Can't get the English off the glass.
Got to go up strong. He's a lefty on the left side. Got to finish that possession.
But Emery got back on defense, didn't he? Another turnover on St. Mary's.
Defensively, they are turning over St. Mary's. That's uncharacteristic for a veteran team to have so many turnovers early.
That's the 5th turnover already on the Gales. And we have a whistle underneath, no shot. But a foul nonetheless on St. Mary's. It'll be on Dane Pinot.
You just saw why Eric Mika is such a threat in the post. It was a bad pass, an errant pass, but the footwork and the determination to track it down is what got him to draw that foul. Excellent footwork from the big guy.
Emery takes a seat for BYU. Landale back in for St. Mary's and guarding Mika. Hawes playing the point guard with LJ Rose out with the knee injury. Mika jump stop up with the left hand, gets the bucket.
Right now, Mika and Landale, because it's no double team, they're skilled enough to take one or two dribbles and get a good angle for a jump hook. Again, they're not three-point shooters. They do their work 15 feet and in.
Good drive and a better block by the freshman Yoli Child, stopping junior Jock Landale. BYU the other way, and an offensive foul on Elijah Bryant as he bowled over the St. Mary's defender.
That's a good call. Good call, charging. For Eric Mika in traffic. There's no one-on-one, so he has a nice angle to go up with the lefty jump hook and scores. He's already into this game, getting high percentage shots, as well as Jock Landale, even though they've already blocked 2 of his shots.
Mika 7 points on 3 of 5 shooting. Fitzner for 3. He's missed all 3 of those attempts tonight. BYU continuing to work inside, but a bobbled pass by Yoli Childs and a turnover on the Cougars.
I like what I see from Hawes when Yoli Childs is open. They get it to him well. You've got to go one-on-one coverage because Eric Mika is on the other side and always has to be occupied.
Fans not liking the call after seeing the replay. They thought it went out of bounds off of St. Mary's.
Good and bad. I like the fans here. BYU sitting down, going to the second and third option. Joe Raham making a decision from the top.
He dishes to Krebs for 3. Tanner Krebs, the red shirt freshman from Australia, one of 7 Aussies on the squad for the Gales this year.
Good job by Landale trying to deny Eric Mika in the post.
Childs hand checked as he slid inside to the paint. And it's a foul on Tanner Krebs. Our next ESPN Big Monday is another ACC Big 12 doubleheader. First, Miami and number 14 Virginia tip off at 7 p.m. Eastern. And when we're done there, it's on to Morgantown for number 9 West Virginia hosting Texas. Big Monday presented by eBay on ESPN. Also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. Kickball off the rebound. You saw BYU head coach Dave Rose looking for what would be, Adrian, really their first big win of the season.
Yeah, that's right, for a young team. Even though BYU goes on their LDS mission, there's still a young team where you talk about freshmen and sophomore, and no one has to go on a mission next year. So if Mika comes back, you're talking about a top 25 team next year.
Here's Mika. Going up for the hook, got fouled, and he will go to the line. Another foul on Jock Landale. That's his second personal. And really, we've seen, Adrian, BYU, a concerted effort, whether it's to Yoli Childs or Eric Mika, to get a touch inside on almost every possession.
Well, that's the strength of their team. You talk about Dave Rose, that's a veteran coach. Both coaches have tremendous success in this league. You want to get high percentage shots from your shot makers, starring Eric Mika.
Eric Mika has been excellent tonight, already 8 points on 3 of 5 shooting. He's had 16 double-doubles this year, and he gets to the line a lot. In fact, he's number 1 in the nation in free throws attempted and number 2 in the nation in free throws made.
Well, you talk about a guy that's not a three-point shooter, doesn't deviate from contact. And if you think about it, you don't see him get called for a lot of charges or turnovers in the post. Excellent footwork and patient in tight spaces.
Jock Landale has to take a seat with his second foul. So Fitzner will drop down and now pop back up for St. Mary's.
Nice extra pass.
Krebs, I think he was blocked by the rim. Just got caught underneath the backboard. Not sure if a Cougar got a hand on it or not. Emery sidestepping into the lane, finds Yoli Childs. The ball is on the floor, picked up by Krebs. A turnover on BYU.
Excellent job by St. Mary's digging down on the ball.
Fitzner shook off one defender and then missed the jump hook.
Pitchner's got to go up with confidence, even go up there to dunk it when you're that close to the rim. Still one-on-one coverage with Mika.
Under 8 minutes to play here in the first. Mika up with the left hand this time. Wanted a foul, didn't get it. Extra pass. Hermanson for three, his second triple of the game.
That's a dagger in a 1 or 2 possession game because Joe Rayhan attracts so much attention and throws it out to the open shooter in Hermanson. It's a good time out here to make the defensive adjustments.
St. Mary's on top 26-18. Tough pass on the baseline. Hermanson, he's got 6. And St. Mary's on top. Thank you very much, John. St. Mary's on top on the road against BYU, looking for their second win against the Cougars this season. Randy Bennett, in his 16th year with the Gales, has them at number 22 in the country, a number 6 seed in Joe Lunardi's bracket. And we'll see if they can move up the rankings as they finish off the West Coast Conference regular season and then head into the WCC tournament.
Well, Mika, you got to take advantage of that matchup.
Mika bumped, fouled again, and he will go back to the free throw line for what will be his 4th and 5th free throw attempts already tonight.
Well, you don't mind getting fouls on your backup center like Jordan Hunter. He's a big guy, 6'9", 6'10". You don't want it on Jock Landale. You don't want it on Dane Pinot.
Well, the reason it's on Hunter is because Landale's on the bench with 2 fouls already.
Yeah, and that one should have been a double team. You've got to adjust quicker and protect your big guys. Really, it's the guards and the forward that have to come down and dig the ball out of Eric Mika's hands.
Mika on the season, a 77% free throw shooter. That's a percentage he improved by 16% from his freshman to sophomore year. And keep in mind, there was 2 years in between there when he was serving on his LDS mission and didn't play basketball at all. He's come back a better free throw shooter, and it's a good thing because he gets to the line more than anybody in the country.
Yeah, it reminds me of Tom Chambers in his body type. Tom was even more explosive and could score from the outside, but reminds me of Tom Chambers, 6'10", strong, quick, athletic.
Rayhan, 3 on the shot clock. Krebs rejected out of bounds by Hawes. And will it be a shot clock violation? Yes, it will. Turnover on the Gales.
Excellent job by Hawes coming back on the play without fouling. Watch this. He's back in position, doesn't give up on the play, and doesn't foul a three-point shooter. Outstanding defense.
Good recovery on a St. Mary's 3. The Gales have already made 4 of 8 three-point attempts tonight.
See if they can get a score and cut into this lead to get the crowd going.
They feed the big man again.
Good ball
offensive
movement.
Rebound, kick out to Elijah Bryant for 3.
Settling down now. You can see the excitement of this crowd. Emery passing up a three-point shot to his teammate Bryant, who's now shooting it better. Remember the last game we had against Gonzaga, he was missing that three-pointer, but he has a good-looking stroke.
Hermanson, his 3rd three-pointer of the first half.
And it's because Bryant has not stayed attached to Hermanson. The ball has found him for 3 open looks. When you have enough space to pose for a picture on your jumper, the defense is too far away from you.
Mika, now he draws the double team for a moment.
Gotta
and
go
then
quick.
Fitzner backs off. And Fitzner the rebound. Hermanson has 9 points for St. Mary's after that last 3. Former 2-time Oregon High School Player of the Year. Led the team in three-point shooting last year and leads them in three-point field goals made this year. As the Gales have been excellent from beyond the arc tonight.
Rayhan is such a trusted decision maker. Good patience, like a surgeon, just waiting, probing the defense for an open lane, an open passing lane or shot.
Averages 6 assists on the season, got one there to Hunter. Hawes, the quick trigger on the other end. Under 5 minutes to play now here in the first. St. Mary's up 31-23. Eric Rothman, Adrian Branch with you here in Provo, Utah.
You could see the experience of St. Mary's just being so patient, taking their time. A quick shot for BYU means they have to sit down defensively for 30 seconds on the other end.
Sunday afternoon in the American Conference, 4 p.m. Eastern, it's UConn taking on Temple in Philadelphia. You can watch that one on ESPN as well as streaming it live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN.
Now watch the patience of Rayhan trying to get a high percentage shot. He's yet to really shoot it for himself, looking for his own offense.
Here's Hunter, who has been good in minutes off the bench with Jock Landale having to take a seat with that foul trouble.
That's a big foul when you get it on a role player, getting it on your star post player. Good job faking the handoff and going in strong, drawing the foul on Eric Mika.
First personal on Eric Mika, and this is the first trip to the free throw line tonight for St. Mary's, and it's Jordan Hunter, the sophomore from, well, where else? Australia.
Hey, down under, mate. I was there for 3 years. I love Australia.
And now we've got some bench players coming in for BYU. The big former football player, Corbin Kafusi. I know you love him, number 44
one of my
in white.
favorite. I was talking to him. I said, when do you transition into football? He said, well, after the season. I said, what are you weighing now? I won't tell a coach. He said, about 273-ish. What a nice story.
He'll probably put on some more pounds when football season starts. Hawes, a much-needed three as St. Mary's had gotten out to their largest lead of the night. And Hawes stops the bleeding with 4 minutes to play in the first.
Good job in rhythm, in the flow, catching it, squaring up, knocking down an easy shot. Now keep an eye on Hermanson and keep an eye on Joe Rayhan with his ability to get inside the lane for a shot or pass to a teammate.
8 on the shot clock. Emmett Nahr up with the left hand, nothing but net.
Yeah, too easy, running the shot clock down. Getting a high percentage shot inside the lane. You don't want to give up drives inside the paint.
7 points now for the junior guard, Emmett Nahr.
You know what happens also when you're able to score consistently? You can set your defense back.
They left Davin Gwynn open. He airmailed that three right in the hands of teammate Yoli Childs. Fades away off the heel. And a rebound by St. Mary's.
Looked like Yoli thought the shot clock was running down. He still had time in the shot clock.
Under 3 minutes to play now here in the first half.
Emmett Nahr as well averages 5 assists a game. You just saw it right there. When you talk about 2 point guards, you have 2 good decision makers out on the floor.
Hunter got loose again, and now he's got 5 points. And that is an easy drive and finish for TJ Hawes, who's now up to 7. And St. Mary's just didn't get back on defense that time.
Yeah, St. Mary's is running the same thing, the high screen and roll, being patient. Emmett Nahr looking to make a play.
And a whistle as Emery scratched at Emmett Nahr, and St. Mary's up by 8.
Emmett Nahr, the second point guard that averages 5 assists a game. You just saw his first one right there with an excellent pass to Hunter.
John here in Provo, Utah. Under 2.5 minutes to play in the first half. St. Mary's on top of BYU 36-28. Eric Rothman, Adrian Branch with you. And Adrian, we knew fouls could be an issue with the big men down low, but St. Mary's, with Jock Landale out with 2 fouls, they haven't missed a beat because unsung hero, sophomore Jordan Hunter, has come on and played very strong. 6 minutes, 5 points, a rebound. He's only averaging 2 points a game on the season.
And look at the pace. Right now, you're seeing them again. Because of their pace, they're able to protect Jock Landale. They still have the lead. They're controlling the game, and they're on pace right now for 72 points on what they average.
Hermanson, after making his first 3 three-pointers, misses that one.
Can you get a high percentage shot and reward your effort defensively? It's a good matchup. Let's see if Mika takes this one-on-one.
Mika on Hunter. Hunter draws the block. And Mika again to the free throw line.
Solid patience by Eric Mika to be able to read the defense. Wasn't in a hurry. And now, because he's a 77% free throw shooter, as a big guy, you want to move, a counter move, and be able to hit your free throws. He's got a jump hook. He can step out and shoot a jumper, and he shoots his free throws.
With the limited bench that Coach Rose has for BYU, is it fair to say that this start for Mika, 10 points on 3 of 7 shooting, only 1 foul, is about as good as Coach Rose could have asked for here in the first half?
Yeah, and he could have actually done even better. He's missed some easy shots. He almost shot an air ball right there at the free throw line. So he has to be perfect. This is the 22nd ranked team in the nation. Good shot fake. Excellent shot fake.
Fitzner with the leaner, and Fitzner now with 4 points on 2 of 6 shooting.
Tough shot. That's a tough shot.
Little push off Mika, tied up. It's going to be another foul on Hunter. That's his 3rd. So now the big men, we've got Hunter with 3 fouls, Landale with 2, and so the front court for St. Mary's in a little bit of foul trouble.
Well, Mika has a motor that continues to go, and he's not going to deviate from what he does. He attacks the glass offensively. He plays 10 feet and in from the basket. He's got to reward that effort now with these free throws. Tough miss.
Second one in a row that he's missed. Now 4 of 7 from the free throw line. It's the biggest lead of the game for St. Mary's at 10, nearing the minute mark here in the first half.
And Eric, because this is a possession team, where they move the basketball around and get high percentage shots, when you're down by 5, 6, 7, it feels like you're down by 20.
Yoli Childs, the runner for the big man, and he is a fabulous freshman talent.
He's got a high ceiling. He, like Eric Mika, play close to the basket. He's not a three-point shooter.
St. Mary's hanging on to the 8-point lead. Hermanson is fouled in the corner. Yoli Child slapping the wood and saying, why did I just foul a three-point shooter?
Let me ask you that. Yoli, why did you foul a three-point shooter? That fourth time when they go into half and talk about it, Hermanson's just been waiting at the three-point line. Yoli, you can't do that. Oh, my goodness, that's a heartbreaker.
It's a karate kick. That's what that is. And Hermanson to the free throw line, just over 30 seconds to play here in the first half. And Adrian, St. Mary's has held this now 9-point lead for almost 12 minutes with Jock Landale on the bench.
Well, we talked about, I think you have the stat with Gonzaga. What have they led? 287 minutes?
The streak was actually broken here in BYU a couple weeks ago, but they led for almost 13 halves straight of basketball.
And St. Mary's almost does the same thing.
Very similar, yes.
They lead a lot. Most of their games they lead. Right now, St. Mary's is doing the same thing. This is the first time we've seen BYU look like a young, inexperienced team because of the patience and poise and decision-making of St. Mary's.
Hermanson leading all scorers now with 12 points after those field goals. Free throws.
Watch Hawes. He is able to get inside the lane. Joe Rayhan's just taking his time. Play. Okay, bring it on then. What you got?
A 1.5 difference between the game and the shot clock. Emery crossover, pulls up for 3. And now St. Mary's, a chance to end the half on a high note. Rayhan came up short with the left hand, but St. Mary's will take their biggest lead of the night into the break. The Gales on the road, number 22 in the country, on top of BYU 41-30. Now let's send it to the studio. John Brickley and Andy Katz. Gentlemen. We welcome you back to Provo, Utah, where the number 22 team in the country, St. Mary's, is on top of BYU 41-30 at the half. As we welcome you back inside the Marriott Center, everybody, alongside Adrian Branch. I'm Eric Rothman, and Adrian, in that first half for St. Mary's, a very efficient first half, and right now they have their largest lead of the game. Yeah,
and it's because of Joe Rayhan. He has controlled the game, controlled the pace of the game. We talked about it where you talk about tempo. Tempo rules the day. Getting easy shots, already 4 assists. Watch that, 2 feet inside the paint, you're beat on that possession. And then watch the pick and roll. Emmett Narr averages 5 assists as well. He's the second leading assist man in conference. And look at that pocket pass to Hermanson, knocking down the three-point shot. And this is one of my favorites again, as you broke the defense, quick in that pass right inside to Hunter. right now, St. Mary's has been undeterred, shooting 57% from the field.
And 5 of 12 from three-point range. And bench points, we talked about it in the first half. BYU, now in the past 2.5 games, if you include tonight, has got 3 combined bench points in all of that time. None here tonight. And so they find themselves in an 11-point hole as they start the second half. Jock Landale back in there. He didn't play the last 12 minutes of the first half for St. Mary's with his 2 fouls and comes out of the break.
Before shot attempt. Good ball fake by TJ Hawes.
And Rayhan went back first right into Hawes as he was trying to pull up for that 25-footer.
He's got that kind of range. He does have that kind of range. So,
well, they're saying it was a foul on the floor before the shot attempt, so just a side-out inbound. Hawes had the backdoor cut available to him. Couldn't handle the pass, and a turnover on BYU. For the Cougars, Adrian, we talked about how Nick Emery has been in a little bit of a slump with the injuries and the illness he's dealt with. He had 26 points on Thursday night in the win against San Diego, but so far tonight struggling yet again, just 1 of 6 from the floor, 2 points. He's going to need to help out and shoulder a bit of the load that Eric Mika has taken all by himself. You can't have just one guy down there.
Well, that's true. Outside of scoring, he's playing a good floor game. He's got some rebounds. He's gotten some deflections with steals. I like the floor game. He's much stronger than what we saw him the last time we were here 2 weeks ago against Gonzaga. But yes, he does have to be that third scoring option. And also Bryant has to continue to be assertive.
Landale at the line, as I mentioned, sat for the last 12 minutes of that first half with 2 fouls, yet St. Mary's really didn't miss a beat.
That's right, and they're up by 11, again because of the pace of the play. With St. Mary's, we're going to reiterate, they want to slow the ball down, control it. Think about Wisconsin. Think about Virginia. Those are teams that would like to, even Purdue, like to slow it down and make you play at their tempo.
I think St. Mary's would find themselves very comfortable in the Big Ten.
They've got big bodies for the Big Ten. It's a good point. Make your decision quick and go strong. There you go.
Jolie's turnaround on the baseline. Childs, excuse me. Turnaround on the baseline. And the freshman now with 7 points on 3 of 6 shooting.
You're seeing a 1-3-1 zone. They're trying to speed up the tempo with St. Mary's to try to get a deflection or a run out.
Hermanson, after hitting his first 3 three-point attempts, has missed his last 2. Ball will stay with St. Mary's. That's one thing Coach Rose said BYU can't do, and that's give up offensive rebounds and give second opportunities to the Gales.
And on this out of bounds, keep an eye on Hermanson. They really want to watch him from a driving kick. Now, he's got life easy because of Joe Rayhan and Emmett Nard, playmakers, and Jock Landale.
This time it's Fitzner in the corner for the 6th three-pointer for St. Mary's.
Everything clicking right now for the Gales. Inside, outside, the ball movement, and high percentage shots.
Childs missing short. Ball will stay with the Cougars.
You know what else when you're playing catch-up? The crowd is quiet. And because St. Mary's has a style that can just rock you to sleep, slowly they're just cutting off your oxygen.
Well, Mika might get the crowd going with that one. The alley-oop lay-in off the inbound, a quick play, and a quick bucket, number 12 for Mika.
How about 2 players in the West Coast Conference that's on the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Best Center watch list? That's impressive to be on that list.
Shemek Karnowski is also on there as well. 3 of the top 10 come from the West Coast Conference.
Good ball movement.
Extra pass to Hermanson, popped out.
Can BYU get another high percentage shot or get to the free throw line? St. Mary's doesn't give up cheap, easy baskets fouling.
Mika nearly lost it. Now drives with the right hand. Got the rattle and the roll.
Now, if you're Jock Landale, you did your job. You made him shoot a tough shot. He hit one, but you're not picking up fouls, and you still have a lead.
Landale. Offensive foul, the third on Landale. And he is screaming at his bench, asking his coach, Randy Bennett, why it wasn't on Mika because he thought he was standing in the semicircle.
That's a good call. Dislodged him inside the post. Now, good hands, good feet, but yeah, good call. Knocking him down.
Look where Nico was standing, very clearly inside the semicircle. And Bryant with a foot on the line. BYU has gotten it down to single digits.
Seeing BYU try to mix up their zone right now. It's a 2-3, 1-3-1.
Rehan leans in for the three after the flip on the drive by his teammate Emmett Nahr.
How about the patience of Rehan? 3 for 4. That's his first shot from the three-point line.
Emery now 1 of 7 from the floor after missing that layup.
They need his offense. They need his offense to complement what Hawes is doing and Eric Mika is doing. Nice patience using both sides of the floor. BYU does not want to give up any straight line drives.
Pick and roll. Pinot sat on the rim and then fell off. Here comes Emery on the run out.
Got a ball movement or people movement. Keep an eye on BYU. See if they start to get tired because they don't have a deep bench.
Childs doing his best to complement Eric Mika. Makes the bucket but goes down awkwardly, grabbing his knee. And this could be terrible for BYU, who already is shorthanded, and he is in a world of pain. Yoli Childs down. We'll be back with an update after this. Point lead for St. Mary's here on the road against BYU, and Cougar fans silent here at the Marriott Center as star freshman Yoli Childs making this bucket just before the break, but coming down awkwardly, rolled that left ankle. He was helped off the floor momentarily, unable to put any weight on that left ankle. And we just hope that Yoli Childs, that's not the end of his season, because he was in a lot of pain and he has been absolutely stellar in his freshman year for the Cougars. Went straight to the locker room, and Adrian, for a team that has not gotten any production out of their bench the past 2.5 games in BYU, it just got that much tougher.
Yeah, and the next man up. You've got to coach what's on the floor. Yoli was starting to get into it in this half. He's 4 for 8, 9 points. So let's see if he might be able to come back if they retape it.
Quick turnaround. Hermanson goes inside. So now Mika, the lone big man down there for the Cougars. Ball lost out of bounds, but will stay with BYU. On our next ESPN Big Monday, it's another ACC Big 12 doubleheader. Miami and number 14, Virginia, tip off at 7 Eastern. When we're done there, it's on to Morgantown for number 9 West Virginia and Texas. Big Monday presented by eBay on ESPN, streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN.
You know, St. Mary's does not create a lot of steals like West Virginia, like Louisville, but they're good defensive teams. Right now they play good position defense, which makes you take tough shots. That was a tough shot by Mika. Now they have possession again, controlling the tempo.
St. Mary's only allowing 56 points per game to their opposition. That's good for second in the country.
Yeah, their pace also helps that up because you don't get a lot of shot attempts because they control it for most of the game.
Pinot got doubled. Somebody's open. 7 on the shot clock. Fitzner the drive. And rebounded by Davin Gwynn, the guy who came in after Yoli Childs went out with the injury.
Fitzner has a nice package. Can shoot a three-pointer. 6'10", can go down low. Nice forward.
Ball will stay with BYU. You saw the graphic there a moment ago. 3 points total for BYU's bench the past 2.5 games. They've gotten 0 here tonight.
Well, somebody's got to match Eric Mika's activity. He's giving you what he can, going through double teams. He's fighting through right now. Looks like a tired foul. But somebody has to match. Bryant also has to get in double figures. Hawes has to be a threat. Right now, it's just Mika.
Mika is the leading scorer for BYU with 14. Second would be Yoli Childs with 9. We know he is out of the game, at least for the moment, with that injury. Hawes has 7, and Emery just 2 points. And for a team in BYU that relies so heavily on their starters, just haven't gotten production out of their key guards. There's Fitzner in the corner, and Fitzner hits the 3.
His coming out party, his last game, the coaching staff was real excited about his aggressiveness. And now you just saw it. He missed the open layup on the last drive, but he's playing with a nice poise, a nice pace to his game.
Turnover on BYU. Fitzner, 10 points tonight. That is double his season average.
Now, when you have open space, 6'10", a big at the three-point line, that's a tough check.
St. Mary's on top, 53-38 on the road. With over 13 minutes to go. Artie's #1 seeds. We've got a new one, North Carolina, the 4th #1 seed as of tonight, as Baylor drops out after their loss to Kansas. So Villanova, Kansas, Gonzaga, and North Carolina, your #1s according to Joe Lunardi, and St. Mary's, the projected 6th seed. And St. Mary's tonight on the road as the #22 team in the country, on top of BYU, 53-38. Eric Rothman and Adrian Branch welcome you back to the Marriott Center, and that's a good sign. Yoli Childs ready to check back in. The freshman who went down with a left ankle injury just a few minutes ago looked really bad, couldn't put any weight on it as he limped to the locker room and quickly comes back out with under 13 and a half to play in regulation.
Yeah, that puppy was getting retied. Retied.
And another drive by Evan Fitzner. He's got 12 points.
Fitzner has stepped up for Jock Landale, who's been quiet in this game. And also the backcourt of St. Mary's, 14 points and 10 assists combined for Nar and Joe Rahan. You want to say, where did that come from?
Hawes double pump midair, and he will go to the line. And just one more thing on Fitzner, Adrian, is this is a guy who last year as a redshirt freshman played 10 more minutes per game than he does this year, and was double in terms of his points per game. He was 9 last year. He's just about 5 this year. And so Fitzner tonight getting some extra minutes, especially with Jock Landale dealing with foul trouble. He's got 12 points and has looked very efficient as Yoli Childs gets a big ovation from the crowd. But Fitzner is a guy that's kind of flown under the radar this year for St. Mary's.
Yeah, and he's got his confidence back now. You can see him starting to assert himself. We've just seen him mix up his offense with the three-point shot. He's had strong drives, and he's playing as a 6'10" impact player. He's 6'10", close to the basket.
We've seen him work outside and inside, as Hawes now has 9 after the free throw.
No one on St. Mary's strains their offense. They don't come down and take bad shots. Their patience. All 5 players touch the basketball.
5 on the shot clock. Pinot, too hard.
Good defense by Eric Mika. Now can they get a quick score? The keys was the three-point shot and transition defense.
Mika missing turnaround. Emmett Nar the pull-up. And a loose ball kick out and an extended possession now for St. Mary's.
Right now, this is the 12-minute mark. St. Mary's up by 15. Quietly doing what they want on both sides of the floor. Looking for a mistake to be made by BYU.
It's Hermanson again. His 4th three-pointer of the evening.
He does for St. Mary's what Jordan Matthews does for Gonzaga. Wait at the three-point line and get a high percentage shot.
17 points tonight, 4 above his season average, and it's a 10-2 run for St. Mary's.
He's like the baseball version right now, the Big Poppy. Just move the, hit a three-pointer and just get out of the way.
Fitzner trying to go back-to-back.
Keep an eye on fatigue for BYU because they don't have a lot of bench production and because it takes so long to get a high percentage shot. Will they start to get tired?
Long possession here for BYU. 6 on the shot clock. Mika double team, turned it over. Nar up ahead. Pinot, the left-hand runner, is good for Dane Pinot.
Watch for a timeout right here. This is a good timeout to try to regroup your guys before the 10-minute mark.
Biggest lead of the night for St. Mary's. They're up by 20 on the road against BYU.
Has been a silent assassin for St. Mary's, the 22nd team in the nation. He's been ultra efficient, 4 for 8 from the three-point line, just spreading out, knocking down easy shots, not taking bad shots. And it's because of the guard play of Emmett Nar and Joe Rayhan. You can't cut off everything, and he has made an easy living tonight, knocking down open three-point shots.
And with his 17 points, leading the way for St. Mary's. They're up to their largest lead of the night, 60-40 on the road against BYU. Eric Rothman, Adrian Branch with you here at the Marriott Center. And Adrian, we thought that Jock Landale was going to be the story tonight going up against Eric Mika. Well, Jock has barely played, just 12 minutes of action because of foul trouble. And so they've turned into a drive and kick type team without him in there.
Exactly, and because Fitchner has raised his game. Dane Pinot, who's not known for scoring, comes in and gives you meaningful minutes. But again, look at St. Mary's. They're not a team that gets a lot of ball deflections, but they're excellent at position defense.
And the foul away from the ball. It's on BYU as Emery tripping Hermanson, getting called for the foul. And Hermanson and Fitzner, as you just mentioned, Adrian, they're the two leading scorers tonight for St. Mary's, combining for 29 points.
Nationally ranked. They've come off the loss. Both teams have come off the loss to Gonzaga. But this is a huge game. This is for second and third place in a good West Coast Conference.
St. Mary's 23-3 overall. 2 of those losses to Gonzaga, 1 to UT Arlington. Nar dribbled it off of his foot. And BYU gives it right back. Here comes Emmett Nar for redemption. And as is their MO, Adrian, they slow up and relax.
It's like baseball. You could talk about the innings and the pitches in between. 15 seconds left on the shot clock.
Rayhan will go to the line as Kafusi used his offhand to push Rayhan off his line.
Foul was on Emery.
Oh, that's
the
right.
left-handed swipe right there with the swipe.
Foul came before Kafusi came over. So now Rayhan to the free throw line. He's a 77% free throw shooter. And this guy, he just doesn't come out of the game. Leads the team in minutes, playing about 38 minutes per game. And he's just a gamer. Yeah,
and this is where you miss L.J. Rose. He was a 5-year upperclassman, a co-captain that had knee surgery, transfer from Houston. Well, and they're missing that right now, that veteran presence that can put pressure on Rayhan. There's been no pressure on him tonight.
And now Emery has to come out of the game. He struggled offensively, and now he picks up his 3rd foul.
There's no bench points in this game so far, so you're talking about the Iron 5 that's had to score for BYU.
Hawes. Floater is good for TJ Hawes, now in double-figure scoring with 11.
TJ Hawes is a gamer. He will look, he's a three-point shooter, but he has a nice floor game. He can pass it well. Rebound, we saw that beautiful block shot he had at the three-point line earlier in the first half.
And with L.J. Rose in the lineup before he got injured, a foul underneath on Kafusi will send Pinot to the line. Before L.J. Rose got injured, TJ Hawes was splitting his time between the point guard and the shooting guard. Now with L.J. Rose out, TJ Hawes is 100% playing the point guard position, and that changes the team a little bit.
Yeah, and he's a combination. He's a combo guard. He does a good job, has instincts for both positions.
And talking to Coach Rose earlier, he said L.J. Rose is more of a set play point guard, where TJ is more of the attack and kick point guard, as Dane Pinot gets his free throws and makes it a 64-42 game.
This is not the same BYU team that averages over 80 points a game. They have not been able to get into a consistent rhythm. They're shooting 38% right now. And again, there's not a lot of depth from the bench production.
And only 42 points. Their lowest total this season was 62 points with a win at Pacific. And the way this is going tonight and their struggles offensively, they might be in for their lowest offensive production of the season. Mika back in off the bench with those 14 points on 5 of 12 shooting. Under 9 minutes to play here in regulation.
Good patience by Yoli Childs trying to read the defense. That's a good possession.
Fading away, Yoli Childs has 11.
I like where he allowed the guards to go through so he could see clearly what he wanted to do inside the lane. 2 feet inside the paint, going up for a nice turnaround.
Jock Landale back in there with those 3 fouls.
The Gales have consistently come down and made a play with 5, 6, 7 seconds left on the shot clock.
It's 5 on the shot clock for the second chance point for Jock Landale. Childs trying to stretch his range a little bit. Mika got the offensive rebound, and he will go back to the free throw line. BYU has a lot of ground to make up. St. Mary's going to the big man. Jock Landale hasn't played a lot this game with foul trouble. Gets the offensive rebound and the putback. Wednesday night, Duke, Syracuse, Louisville, UNC. And we saw Joe Lunardi's updated number ones a few minutes ago. North Carolina replacing Baylor as the 4th number 1 seed according to Joe Lunardi. St. Mary's, who is on top big here on the road against BYU, is slotted as a 6th seed, but that could change as they continue to roll on here in the final couple games of the West Coast Conference regular season, and then could have a 3rd meeting with Gonzaga in the West Coast Conference tournament. Eric Rothman, Adrian Branch here with you, and this is a pretty big statement for St. Mary's. Adrian, on the road here against BYU, big crowd, a lot of noise, and BYU, who needed a signature win, and St. Mary's has just come out and steamrolled them.
Huge, and they lost the last 3 meetings, the last 3 years that they've come here, but they have tamed the line so far in this game by their poise and decision-making. Also, St. Mary's has kept BYU out of the fast break. There's no fast break points in this game.
No fast break points, no bench points, 3 on the shot clock, and Evan Fitzner continues his strong shooting, 15 points tonight, tripling his season average.
I haven't seen St. Mary's play so well, and they're a solid team, but everything has worked for them right now. 54% for the game, collective defense. Eric Mika has been the only one who's been able to have his kind of game.
Mika now has 16 with that lay-in, but you're right. Coach Rose was really hoping to get more production out of Hawes and Emery. Emery, especially after coming off a 26-point performance on Thursday against San Diego. Just not in the cards tonight.
Or so far. So far.
Under 7 minutes to play in regulation.
So playing keep away right now.
Hermanson. And an offensive rebound by Pinot. Lost it. And Davin Gwynn scoops up the loose ball.
See if Bryant can get inside the lane. He has not been able to get any drives. The scout report is to keep him outside the lane. He's not been able to break down the defense consistently that we've seen in this game so far.
6 points on 2 of 5 shooting for Elijah Bryant.
Yeah, real quiet. He's a good player.
A long possession for BYU. 3 on the shot clock. Bryant muscling that one up. And a rebound by Fitzner. And with BYU down so much, they can't afford to be taking that much time per possession.
Yeah, and now you're seeing it again. 20 seconds left on the shot clock. They run it down and then make their decision, make their move with 7 seconds or under on the shot clock. Look at the patience.
Kick out Fitzner, a long 3. Heat check there for Evan Fitzner. St. Mary's will finish off the season at Pepperdine and then at home against Santa Clara. BYU still has to go on the road against Portland and Gonzaga. This is the last home game of the season for the Cougars, and a melancholy senior night as they honored two seniors, Kyle Davis and LJ Rose, who are both hurt and out for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, and if you look on the faces of the white jerseys, the home team, they're tired.
Yep.
They're tired right now. They're willing. They'll compete. But because there's no depth, because you don't have LJ Rose, a point guard that can make good decisions in the half court, they're starting to wear down.
Silver lining, though, for BYU, Adrian, you talked about it earlier, is that these guys, all five of them, their starters, should be back next season.
Oh, yeah, you're looking at a top 25 team. If everybody comes back, doesn't transfer, Mika put his name in the draft, which he could do, but it's going to be a deep draft this year, you're looking at a team that could turn the tables.
Yep.
Good pass.
Childs lobs it inside to Mika, who now has 18 points.
Nice big-to-big pass.
Childs has been impressive as well. 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 1 assist. And maybe more importantly for BYU, not having to go out for any significant amount of time after he rolled that left ankle.
Now, Dave Rose is a veteran coach. He's had tremendous success. He's the real deal. He coached Jimmer Fredette. These guys both tired, knocking down each other. They don't have any fast break points and don't have any bench points. So Coach knows what he's working with right now.
Fitzner's three might have gotten tipped by Childs. 69-48. St. Mary's on top, under 4 minutes to play here in regulation. Davin Gwynn. That would have been the first bench point of the night for BYU. Instead, it's a foul underneath after the offensive rebound by Mika. Mika will go to the line when we return. St. Mary's up big. Well, when you talk about the West Coast Conference, it's hard to not talk about Gonzaga, who is undefeated at 28-0, and the Zags 2 games remaining on the road at San Diego and then at home for the season finale against BYU. And Eric Mika and company could be looking to spoil the undefeated regular season before heading to the conference tournament in Las Vegas March 3rd. We take a look at the West Coast Conference storylines. Zags stay perfect. BYU struggling tonight against St. Mary's, starting no upperclassmen with LJ Rose and Kyle Davis out with injury, a very young team. And of course, all of these teams will be present at the West Coast Conference Tournament in Las Vegas. Eric Rothman, Adrian Branch here with you in Provo, Utah. And it's just been one of those nights for the BYU offense, and that's what St. Mary's does. They lull you to sleep and they make it hard to score. Second chance opportunity there for the Cougars, but it's still a 19-point advantage, under 3.5 to go for the Gales.
Yoli Childs has had a solid game with his second effort. He's been able to come back after turning his ankle. Eric Mika also has been able to impact the game. You've got those two building blocks, but then it's been a drop-off with everyone else being able to get into their game consistently.
2 on the shot clock. Hermanson at the buzzer. Batted up in the air and rebounded by Emery. And no shot on the play. It's a foul on the floor. We'll go against St. Mary's, side out inbound for BYU. On Sunday, don't forget UConn versus Temple in Philadelphia, 4 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. You can watch that game on ESPN or streaming live on the ESPN app or watch ESPN.
You know, that last play where Nick Emery just made that. I'd love to see that in college basketball be an and one. He's in his shooting motion. Good for the game.
Instead, it's the 6th team foul on St. Mary's, 1 below the bonus, and Rehan picks up his 3rd personal.
Nice drive.
Good dump off inside, Yoli Childs.
When Emery is able to get inside the lane, he's got a strong body. He makes good decisions in traffic. It's a good drive.
BYU on an 8-0 run as Elijah Bryant picks up a foul well away from the basket. 6th team foul on BYU. Bryant picks up his 3rd.
BYU playing in that, putting them at the free throw line, stopping the game. So they're playing out this possession. You want to make sure to hold them to one and done and don't let them score.
Hermanson trying to snap the BYU run, missing his second straight three-point attempt. Bryant pulls up for three.
Good decision. That's a good decision. You got to score in a hurry. Got to put more arc on that three-point shot.
2 minutes to play and another foul on Elijah Bryant before St. Mary's brings it over the timeline. Fourth foul on Bryant as Jock Landale re-enters the game, and it's been a quiet night for Landale, mainly because of his foul trouble. And Landale just 7 points, 13 minutes of action with those 4 fouls. But BYU, Adrian, just unable to capitalize with Landale on the bench.
Yeah, this doesn't help his stats. They're in position to win again. Solid team. Solid team. Fitzner coming on strong. Hermanson shooting a three-point shot. Like you said, for 13 minutes for Landale, they're still able to have a sizable lead on the road against a BYU team where they hadn't won in 3 years.
Loose ball after the block of Emery's shot. Under 2 minutes to play here in Provo. Emery rejected again. Went right into the hands of Dastrup. Still no bench points for BYU.
A nice fake.
Emery off the offensive rebound. It's been a quiet night for Emery, just 4 points, but playing hard here in the final minutes.
You know, I wouldn't. I'd consider bringing Emery off the bench to try to get some spark, because right now they have not still had bench points.
Right.
So I'd consider one of my starters, even Bryant or so, somebody that can come off the bench and just give that extra boost.
A foul on Elijah Bryant, his 5th. He will be disqualified. St. Mary's, take a look at their tournament resume, and they have built up quite a season. If not for Gonzaga, Adrian, this would be one of the talked about teams in the nation. They kind of get overshadowed by undefeated Gonzaga, but you look at that resume, 15th ranking against the BPI, big wins over Nevada and Dayton. Stanford, BYU will beat BYU twice now this season. This is a pretty tough St. Mary's team heading into the tournament.
Yeah, exactly. And then that looks good as well, with there's no bad losses. The 2 losses have been, like you said, to Gonzaga. Gonzaga's on a magical run right now. They're undefeated. And then putting yourself in a position with the 15 and 23, that's all solid. Those are good stats.
Obviously, when you get in the tournament, you're not playing teams in your own conference. More than likely, you'll be playing teams you haven't seen this season. How does St. Mary's pace of play affect them when they go into the tournament? Do you think it'll throw off opponents who haven't played them before?
No, yes. They're going to be well scouted, but they're a veteran team. They don't beat themselves. Joe Rayhan controls the game. You're going to need more talent, and again, you're going to need some bench points. Right now, BYU is not the BYU that we talk about because they've had so many key injuries to important contributors. But in the tournament, you've got good guard play for St. Mary's, and they shoot a high percentage shot when you talk about a Jock Landale down low.
The first bench points of the night for BYU. It's a three-pointer for Colby Leifson. 70-57 St. Mary's, and now a timeout on the floor.
Just a substitution
timeout.
Yeah.
Will send us to break. BYU up 70-57. Check that. We will stay here with you. Just a substitution break. It was enough for us to catch our breath, Adrian. But going back to St. Mary's, you mentioned it, a very experienced team. They returned 9 lettermen from last year, all 5 of their starters, looking poised to head into not only the West Coast Conference tournament, but the NCAA tournament as well. Joe Lunardi has them at a 6th seed, could improve upon that in the final couple games. And the final 15 seconds of this one, and a big road victory for St. Mary's.
They came out and earned it. BYU was shorthanded, but St. Mary's took advantage of it. by shooting over 50% in this game.
Number 22, St. Mary's on the road rolls the Cougars 70-57. And coming up next, we've got the latest on a great day of hoops on College Basketball Live. I'm sure St. Mary's and the West Coast Conference leading Gonzaga will be the talk of the town as those two head to the tournament looking strong. For Adrian Branch and our entire crew, I'm Eric Rothman saying good night. Send it back to the studio with John Brickley and Andy Katz.